Hello, good morning. I am Leon S. Kennedy, a psychiatrist, PhD in psychology, and we're here to talk about the stages of the developmental theory by Sigmund Freud with Laurie Smith, Faith, and Christina.
Good day everyone, I'm Laurie. I'm going to discuss about psychosexual development. In the first stage of psychosexual development, the libido is centered in the baby's mouth. During the oral stage, the baby gets much satisfaction from putting all sorts of things in its mouth to satisfy the libido, and thus its eye demands, which at this stage in life are oral or mouth-oriented, such as sucking, beating, and breastfeeding. Freud said oral stimulation could lead to an oral fixation on later life. We see oral personalities all around us, such as smoker, nail biters, finger chewer, and thumb sucker. Oral personality engage in such oral behaviors, particularly when under stress.
Hello everyone, also to my professor in test subject. My name is Jubilin Chumali. Let's talk about Freud's bisexual development theory. During the anal stage of a bisexual development, the libido becomes focused on the anus, and the child derives great pleasure from the feeding. The child is now fully aware that they are a person in their own right and that their wishes can bring them into conflict with the demands of the outside world, i.e., their ego has developed. Freud believed that this type of conflict tends to come to a head in puppy training, in which adults enforce regulation on when or where the child can defecate. The nature of this first conflict with authority can determine the child's future relationship with all forms of authority. Early hours of potty training can lead to the child becoming an anal retentive personality who hates Miss as obsessively needy, punctual and respectful of authority. They can be stubborn and tight-fisted with their caste and positions. This is all related to pleasure got from holding onto their faces when toddlers and their moms did existing that they get rid of it by placing them on the potty until they perform. Not as that as it sounds. The anal influences, on the other hand, underwent a liberal toilet training regime during the anal stage in adulthood. The anal expulsive is the person who wants to share things with you. They like giving things away. And since they are sharing there, an anal impulsive personality is also messy, disorganized, and rebellious. Thank you everyone, and also to my professor.
So, hi everyone, I am Faith and I will discuss the stage 3, phallic stages, 3 to 6 years old of Freud's developmental theory. So, what is phallic stage? The explanation of phallic stage is the classical psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud, the third stage of psychosexual development beginning around at the age of 3. When the libido is focused on the genital area, penis or clitoris, and discovery and manipulation of the body became a major source of pleasure. So, what do children do during the phallic stage? Children do not only experience physical and psychological developments, but also psychosexual development. This development has a few phases, including the phallic phase, which depends on the child's age. Particularly during the phallic phase, children tend to touch their own genitals. And why phallic stage is important in development of a child? with 5 developmental stages total. The phallic stage is the third and most important one. The child forges his sense of self in relation to his genitalia, learning that he is masculine. Masculinity and this gender role are modeled for him by his father.
Good day everyone, I'm Christina Far and today I will discuss the latency stage 6 years to puberty of Freud's psychosexual developmental theory. What is the latency stage of psychosexual development? The stage of psychosexual development in which overt sexual interest is sublimated, and the child's attention is focused on the skills and peer activities with members of his or her own sex. The latent stage is said to occur between the ages of 6 to puberty. In this phase, the child's libido is hidden or latent. Most of the child's energy is said to be channeled into learning new skills as well as different hobbies, activities that come with starting school. In this stage, the child makes friends mostly with members of his or her own gender, which is said to be a defense mechanism for dealing with the libido. People in the latent stage of the psychosexual development tend to have a hard time understanding or relating to the opposite gender, have an underlying fear of sex and believe it to be weird or gross, are intimidated by the opposite gender. Lastly, stick to their own kind or own gender.
Hi, good morning. My name is Leon S. Kennedy, PhD in psychology and a psychiatrist based on California, and we're here to talk about the Freudian theory by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and a founder of psychoanalysis, a clinical method for evaluating and treating pathologies, as seen as originating from conflicts in psyche through dialogue between patient and psychoanalysis, and the distinctive theory of mind and human agency derived from it. Freud's psychosexual developmental theory, psychoanalytic theory began with the work of Sigmund Freud. Through his clinical work with the patients battling from mental illness, Freud assumed that childhood experience and senseless desire influence the actions. According to Freud, conflict that happen through each stage can have a long-lasting influence on personalities, behaviors. Freud recommends one of the best-known grand theories of childhood development. Based on Freud's psychosexual theory, child development occurs in a sequence of stages focused on different satisfaction to the areas of the body. Through each stage of the child comes across to the conflicts that played a consequential role in the course of development. His theory proposed that the energy of libido was focused on a different erogenous zones that particular stage. Failure to progress through the stage can affect the fixation that the point in the development, which Freud believed that could have an influence on adult behavior. So what will occur if the children complete each stage? And what will be the outcome? Child does poorly during in a particular point of the development. Successfully completing each stage leads to the development of a healthy adult personality. Failing to resolve the conflicts of a particular stage can result a fixation that can have an influence to the adult's behavior, while further childhood development theories recommend that the personalities continues to change and grow over the entire lifetime.